You ever notice how the people who seem the calmest, the most collected, the most in control of their lives are the ones who walk like everything's already going to work out? Like they don't need proof, they don't need results in their face, they just act like it's handled, like life is going to unfold for them. And you look at them and think, how the hell do they do that? I'll tell you how. They act as if everything is always working out for them. And you know what? That's not delusion. That's not fake. That's powerful. Because here's the truth. Most people live in reaction. You wait for the results before you feel confident. You wait for the call, the job, the money, the relationship, the approval before you show up like the person you want to be. And that's exactly why nothing changes. Because life doesn't reward hesitation. Life rewards energy. Life responds to the way you show up. And if you're showing up with fear, with doubt, with hesitation, life meets you right there. That's your frequency. That's your result. You have to flip the script. You have to act as if it's already working, not because it's some magical wishful thinking, but because it changes you, the way you walk into the room, the way you talk to people, the way you trust your gut. You stop second guessing. You stop shrinking. You stop waiting. You start creating. I want you to imagine this. What if you knew that no matter what, it was all going to work out? What if every setback, every delay, every unanswered email, every closed door was still leading you exactly where you needed to go? You'd stop panicking. You'd stop obsessing. You'd start moving like someone who trusts life. You'd stop controlling things you can't control and start focusing on the only thing you can, you. I'm not telling you this to sell hope. I'm telling you this because I've lived it. I've stood in the middle of chaos with no clue how things were going to come together, and I've said out loud, it's all working out for me. Even when it wasn't, even when it looked like a disaster, even when the bank account was empty and the confidence was gone, because the second I chose to believe it, I stood taller, I thought clearer, I attracted better. I didn't wait for the world to prove me right. I decided to act like I already was. And maybe you're thinking, but Mel, what if it doesn't work out? Let me ask you something. What's the better alternative? Worry? Stress? Doubt? How has that been working for you? How has questioning yourself every second made you braver? It hasn't. Because doubt drains. Worry weakens. But belief energizes. And that energy? That's the game changer. You get to choose how you show up. Every day. You can choose the version of you that shrinks, hides, and waits for proof. Or you can choose the version that walks in the room like life is rigged in your favor. That version doesn't chase. That version attracts. That version doesn't panic. That version prepares. That version doesn't fold when it's hard. That version knows. It's all just part of the process. And no, this doesn't mean everything will go according to plan. But maybe that's the point. Maybe it's about becoming the kind of person who knows they'll be okay, even when the plan changes. Maybe the power isn't in controlling everything. Maybe the power is in trusting yourself enough to believe that you can handle anything. So today, right now, I dare you, start acting as if everything is working out for you. Not tomorrow, not when the stars align, now. Walk into that room like you belong there. Send that email like it's already accepted. Look in the mirror and remind yourself, you're not waiting for life to get good. You are what makes life good. Your belief, your energy, your presence. Because when you start acting like it's already working, life starts moving with you, not against you. That's not magic. That's momentum. And it all starts with the choice to believe it's already happening. Even when you can't see it yet. Especially when you can't see it yet. Act as if, speak as if, live as if. You've probably heard people talk about energy before, but let me break it down in a real no-fluff kind of way. The way you feel, your mindset, your attitude, your presence, that is your energy, and people feel it. The universe responds to it. Whether you're walking into a job interview, starting a conversation, chasing a dream, or just showing up for your daily life, your energy speaks before you do. If you carry yourself with fear, hesitation, or self-doubt, even if you're saying all the right words, people feel the disconnect. You might be hoping for good outcomes, but your energy is screaming, "I don't believe this is for me." And guess what? Life listens to that. Opportunities slip through. People overlook you. Doors stay closed. Not because you weren't capable, but because you didn't own your presence. Now flip it. Imagine walking into the same room, same situation, but this time your energy says, "I got this. I belong here. I don't know how it'll work, but I know it will." You radiate calm, confidence, certainty. You start becoming magnetic. People listen differently. You attract different outcomes. And that's not luck. It's alignment. You've matched your energy to the result you want before it even shows up. You don't have to fake it. You have to believe it. And belief changes everything. Because the second you shift your energy from fear to faith, from doubt to trust, you become a force. Not just for other people, but for yourself. Suddenly, you're no longer reacting to life. You're creating it. That's the power of energy, and it's always in your hands. Stop waiting for proof. Start being the proof. This is where most people get stuck. You want the green light before you move. You want the confirmation, the outcome, the applause, before you show up fully. But life doesn't work like that. Success doesn't come wrapped in permission. Confidence isn't handed to you when everything lines up. It's built by choosing to go first. You have to be the one to show up before the proof exists. That's where growth happens. Think about it. When you wait for results to feel confident, you're living in reverse. You're saying, "I'll believe in myself once the world proves I should." But the truth is, the world is waiting for you to prove it to yourself. The moment you stop waiting for validation and start acting like you are the person who already has it, everything begins to shift. You talk different. You move different. You stop second-guessing every step and start walking like the path is already clear. That doesn't mean you ignore reality. It means you create a new one. You become the person who doesn't just hope for change. You embody it. You dress for the job you want. You train like the athlete you believe you are. You speak like the leader you're becoming. You live the outcome before it arrives, because that's how you call it into existence. People don't follow uncertainty. They follow conviction. And when you carry yourself with belief, even when the numbers aren't there, the audience is small, the money isn't flowing yet, people start to lean in. They feel your confidence, your direction, your energy, and slowly but surely, reality starts to reflect it back to you. You want results? Stop standing at the starting line waiting for a guarantee. Be the damn proof. Move before it makes sense. Believe before you see it. Because that's how people change their lives, not by waiting, but by deciding. And something powerful happens when you start believing before the evidence shows up. You change your wiring. You change how your brain functions. Acting as if isn't just a mindset shift. It's a neurological reset. Because when you show up like things are already working out, your brain stops scanning for danger, for doubt, for every worst-case scenario. It stops living in defense, and instead it starts looking for opportunity, for connection, for momentum. You begin to make decisions from a place of clarity, not panic. You trust your instincts more. You stop analyzing everything to death and just move. And that shift, that's where real power lives. That's where confidence is born. Not because you have all the answers, but because you finally start trusting yourself to figure it out. You stop playing small. You stop shrinking to fit other people's comfort zones. And you stop delaying the life you're capable of building. It's not about faking it. It's about aligning your actions with who you know you can be. You walk into the gym like someone who's already transformed. You speak in the meeting like someone who owns their voice. You carry yourself like someone who knows that their time is coming, not because you've seen the finish line, but because you've decided you're on the right path. That decision, that is what shifts your focus. That's what unlocks your next level. Your brain follows your lead. You act like it's working out, and suddenly it starts finding ways to make it work out. That's not wishful thinking. That's science. That's psychology. And it's available to you the second you choose to stop waiting for certainty and start acting like it's already yours. And once you start shifting your energy and aligning with belief, you begin to see something you probably missed before. Those setbacks, those delays, those things that once made you spiral or question everything, they're not signs that it's not working. They're part of the process. They're actually the training ground for who you're becoming. Because when you act as if everything is working out for you, you stop seeing obstacles as stop signs. You start seeing them as detours guiding you towards something better. It doesn't mean the road will be smooth. It won't. You'll have moments where doors close. People won't show up the way you expected. Plans will fall through. But when your mindset is grounded in the belief that even this is working for me, not against me, everything changes. You no longer panic when things don't go your way. You breathe. You pause. You ask, what is this trying to teach me? And that level of calm, that ability to trust even in the storm, that's what keeps you going when most people quit. Every delay is a setup, every rejection is redirection, but you only see it that way when you believe that life is unfolding in your favor. When you trust that the path may twist and turn, but it's still leading you exactly where you need to go. That trust, that's not weakness, that's strength, that's resilience. That's what makes you unstoppable, not because you have all the answers, but because you've decided that nothing can take you off course. You start realizing the setbacks didn't break you. They built you. They gave you perspective, grit, emotional depth. And once you've been through that and still believe in what you're building, that's when the universe meets you with new doors, better people, and the kind of breakthroughs that were always meant for you, but only after you became the person who could handle them. And what's wild is that once you start trusting the process, once you truly live in that mindset that everything is working out for you, even when it's messy, you begin to attract things you couldn't have imagined before. Because the truth is, you don't get what you want. You get what you are. You attract what you embody. That's the real secret. If you're walking around desperate, unsure, constantly doubting yourself, even if you're saying all the right affirmations, people feel the mismatch. That energy repels the very things you're chasing. But when you embody calm, belief, confidence, when you carry yourself like you already have what you're working for, things shift. People respond to you differently. Opportunities seem to just show up. It's not coincidence. It's alignment. Because your energy is finally speaking the same language as your desires. You become a magnet, not because you're lucky, but because you decided to show up like someone who deserves it. You don't have to hustle for your worth. You don't have to chase people down to validate your path. The version of you who believes in their future doesn't beg for crumbs. They build the table. They focus on the vision. They trust the timing. And because of that energy, because of that grounded confidence, the right people, the right doors, the right timing starts to appear. Not because you forced it, but because you finally stopped blocking it with fear. It's not magic. It's momentum. It's what happens when your inner world becomes a match for the outer reality you've been praying for. You show up aligned, not needy. You operate from knowing, not hoping. And that version of you? That version attracts everything you once thought was out of reach. And here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Doubt is exhausting. It's a silent thief that drains your energy, your joy, your focus. You wake up carrying this invisible weight, constantly questioning yourself, second-guessing your every move, wondering if you're good enough, ready enough, smart enough, and you think you're being realistic, but what you're really doing is robbing yourself of power. Doubt doesn't protect you, it paralyzes you. But belief fuels you. Belief gives you energy you didn't know you had. When you believe that things are working out for you, when you trust that you're on the right path even if you can't see the finish line yet, you start showing up with a fire that's hard to ignore. You make decisions faster. You speak up more. You take the leap without needing a net. And that doesn't mean it's not scary. It means you've decided that your vision is bigger than your fear. Most people are tired, not because they're doing too much, but because they're stuck in their heads doing nothing, just spinning in circles, overthinking, procrastinating, waiting for perfect. But the second you choose belief, that fog starts to lift. You get focused, you get bold, you start saying yes to the right things and no to everything that drains your spirit. You stop leaking energy into fear and start pouring it into action. And that's when momentum builds. That's when your life starts compounding in your favor, not because everything's perfect, but because you are finally aligned with where you're going. That belief, that's the fuel. That's what carries you when the motivation fades. That's what separates people who keep waiting from the ones who actually win. And the moment you stop leaking that energy into fear and hesitation, you begin to understand the one thing you actually can control: your mindset. Not the timing, not the outcome, not what they say, or whether the plan works out exactly how you pictured it. But your perspective, that's yours. Your reaction, that's in your hands. And that's where your real power lives. When things fall apart or get delayed, the version of you that trusts it's all working out doesn't spiral. They shift. They refocus. They don't let one bad moment define the whole journey, because they've decided that their peace isn't up for negotiation anymore, that they're done giving away their emotional stability to outside circumstances. And that right there is freedom, when you stop trying to control everything and instead focus on controlling how you show up. And look, this isn't easy. It takes discipline. It takes self-awareness. It takes catching yourself when your thoughts want to spiral and choosing to redirect them toward belief again and again. But the more you do it, the stronger that muscle gets, the more natural it becomes. And soon, things that used to throw you off for days don't even shake you anymore, because your mindset isn't reactive. It's intentional. You wake up each day not needing proof from the outside to feel calm on the inside. You generate that calm. You generate that clarity. And when you start living that way, people notice. They feel your steadiness. They trust your leadership. They're drawn to your energy, not because it's loud, but because it's anchored. That kind of inner control changes everything, because it's not dependent on anything. It's yours, and it's earned. And when you really start anchoring into that mindset, when you show up steady and sure even when the outcome is unknown, you begin to understand that this isn't just about motivation, it's strategy. Acting as if everything is always working out for you isn't some fluffy affirmation or a feel-good mantra you say once in the mirror. It's a daily discipline. It's a decision you make over and over again, especially when nothing around you seems to be working, because that mindset trains your brain to stay solution-focused. It keeps you moving instead of freezing. Most people wait until they feel ready. They wait until they have proof, support, a plan. But when you live with this mindset, you don't wait. You move. You move with faith. You move with clarity. You move with the belief that even if the exact plan falls apart, you'll pivot and build a better one. That kind of thinking makes you powerful, because while others waste time second-guessing, you're already taking the next step. And what's beautiful is that this strategy works no matter where you are. Whether you're just starting, rebuilding, or feeling stuck, it applies. Because it's not about circumstances, it's about approach. You show up with trust, with presence, with commitment to becoming the person who can handle the success you're asking for. That's the real goal, not just chasing the dream, but becoming the version of you that can hold it. You stop outsourcing your peace to what happens and start building peace into how you respond. That's not fantasy. That's leadership. That's ownership. That's how you become unshakable. Not because life gets easier, but because you get smarter, stronger, and more aligned. And the deeper you live in that alignment, the more you realize you are the catalyst. You're not waiting for life to hand you a breakthrough. You are the breakthrough. Everything shifts the moment you shift, the moment you stop blaming circumstances, stop needing guarantees, and start taking full responsibility for how you think, how you show up, how you lead your own damn life. Because the version of you who believes everything is working out doesn't sit around hoping for a miracle. They become the miracle. They don't wait to feel inspired. They generate it. They don't beg for opportunities, they create them. That kind of self-trust, that level of ownership, it doesn't just change your path, it changes you. You become someone who leads with purpose, not pressure. Someone who builds from belief, not burnout. Someone who no longer needs the world to validate their worth because they've already decided it themselves. You start walking like you know who you are, and life meets you there. Not because things magically fall into place overnight, but because your energy is finally strong enough to hold the vision when things get hard. And that's what makes the difference. Not talent, not luck, but your ability to believe in something before it's real, and to keep believing long enough for the world to catch up. You are not waiting for life to give you permission. You are not hoping to be chosen. You are choosing yourself every single day. And when you do that, when you consistently act, speak, move, and think like everything is unfolding in your favor, you become unstoppable. Not because life gets easier, but because you finally become the version of you who doesn't quit, doesn't shrink, doesn't doubt. You lead, you rise, you become. So here's what it all comes down to. Your life will always reflect what you believe about yourself. Not what you say out loud, not what you post online, but what you truly believe when no one's watching. And if you believe deep down that everything is always working out for you, even when it looks like it's falling apart, that belief will change the way you carry yourself. It'll change how you speak, how you make decisions, how you show up for your dreams. Because the truth is, it's not about luck. It's not about timing. It's not even about talent. It's about energy. It's about mindset. It's about deciding that no matter what happens, you're going to trust yourself. You're going to hold the vision. You're going to act like the person who already has what they want. Not because you're pretending, but because you refuse to shrink back into fear anymore. You are not powerless. You are not stuck. You are not waiting for life to begin. You're standing in the middle of it right now, with the power to shift everything by simply choosing a new story, a new energy, a new belief. So act like it's all working out, because when you do, you start becoming the version of you who can handle what you're asking for. And that version doesn't wait to be chosen. That version chooses themselves, over and over again, until the world catches up.